It's an important day at the trial of George Zimmerman. Prosecutors expected to wrap up their case as early as today. NBC's Kerry Sanders is at the courthouse in Sanford, Florida. Kerry, good morning.
Well, good morning, Willie. The jury spent their 4th of July sequestered, but they'll be back here today as the state presents its final witnesses in the second-degree murder case, including possibly Trayvon Martin's parents.
For 2 weeks, George Zimmerman listened intently to 35 witnesses.
He solemnly swear
as prosecutors tried to make a case for second-degree murder.
156. You recognize the packaging?
The jury has seen dozens of pieces of evidence, including video taken by police the day after Zimmerman shot and killed 17-year-old Trayvon Martin.
And I just grabbed my firearm and I shot him one time.
Zimmerman, who has pled not guilty, says he shot the unarmed teen in self-defense, fearing for his life. Prosecutors questioned the lead investigator, Sanford detective Chris Serino, who expressed doubt about Zimmerman's account of what happened.
You felt he was exaggerating certain parts of it?
Among other things.
Another state witness, Rachel Gentile, who said she was on the phone with Trayvon Martin right before he died.
Cries for help. Are you able to say whose voice that is or voices that is?
Trayvon. It sounds like Trayvon's.
But the state has suffered some setbacks.
Was he like this?
Witness John Good testified he saw Trayvon Martin on top of George Zimmerman as they fought.
The person who you now know to be Trayvon Martin was on top, correct?
Correct.
Next, George Zimmerman's lawyers will make their case to the jury.
George Zimmerman is not guilty of murder. He shot Trayvon Martin in self-defense after being viciously attacked.
Trayvon Martin's parents have been in court through it all. Before the trial began, I spoke with them about the defense's possible plans to scrutinize their son's past.
Are you prepared in this trial for the defense to tear apart your son's character?
You can try to make him out to be baddest kid in the world. We know our son.
What's the worst thing that could happen? Our son has already lost his life.
Trayvon Martin's parents are on the witness list. Their lawyer says that they both recognize it will be emotional if they take this stand, but they're ready to do so if called. Willie?
Kerry Sanders outside the courthouse. Kerry, thank you. Let's bring in today legal analyst Lisa Bloom. Lisa, good morning.
Good morning.
I think it's fair to say this is about the halfway point of the trial as the prosecution wraps up its case. If you are the prosecution, how confident are you that you have a conviction coming?
Well, I think the prosecution has put on enough evidence for the jury to come back with the conviction, but it's a circumstantial case. They had to build it piece by piece, and the defense has done a pretty good job on cross-examination of a lot of the witnesses, so I think it's too soon to call.
As you heard from Kerry, the parents of Trayvon Martin could be called to testify as early as today. Obviously, that will be emotionally powerful, but what does it do to make the case against George Zimmerman?
Well, there's that all-important 911 tape where you hear one person screaming out for help in the moments before the bullet rings out. The question is, which of these two young men was it? I expect that Trayvon Martin's mother would take the stand and say, that's my son, I can identify his voice, I'm certain that's him, and that will be powerful evidence for the prosecution.
Is there any downside, Lisa, to putting Trayvon's parents on the stand?
Yeah, I don't think so. In fact, I think it would be very difficult to cross-examine them. If I were on the defense, I would go very lightly with these two, obviously grieving parents who lost their 17-year-old son.
All right, Lisa, play defense attorney for me now as we make the turn in the case here. What do you think you have to do after you've watched 9 or 10 days of testimony from the prosecution side?
I would put on the law enforcement experts who initially decided not to prosecute George Zimmerman. You know, they looked at all of the evidence and they said, we think this is a self-defense case. Later, there was a groundswell of public concern. 44 years later, charges were brought. I would bring that all to the attention of the jury.
Lisa Bloom covering the Zimmerman trial for us. Lisa, thanks so much.